Hey fam, this is Chae.
This is Tay Tay.
And this is Streaming While Black presents Tamar Get Your Life. And this is episode 4. Do you remember the name of this episode?
I don't, but
I forgot. Probably because the episode was kind of meh. It was episode
Caught in the middle.
Caught in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So, as always, we go over the highlights. We do not go in order. There are spoilers because your asses really should be involved in this. Okay? So, so Tay, what did you think about the episode? Yeah, it was kind of meh.
It was all right. I mean, it kind of answered some things for me and kind of didn't. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, it wasn't as juicy as the last one, I put it that way. Like, it didn't really lead me nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, last episode, I couldn't wait for this one. Now I'm like, okay, where are we going now?
Right.
You know?
And I misspoke last episode, so my bad, but we have 2 more episodes to go before we actually end. And in terms of how I felt about this episode, if you were paying attention earlier, it wasn't that good of an episode for me. And probably because it didn't have that true trashy, messy ass reality TV essence that we have come to learn and love. And I think, if anything, this episode was probably a better look for Tamar in so many different ways. But other than that, it was a meh episode. I mean, you could literally have just skipped this episode and we probably wouldn't have missed a damn thing, to be truthful. That's my take. All right. So what didn't you like about the episode?
Good question. I mean, I guess I don't feel like there's still, I feel like I got a resolution about David and Goli, but then I feel like I still didn't get one, if that makes any sense, because last episodes they're warring, and this episode they had a conversation, but I still felt like it was lacking, I guess. In a sense, I felt like it was, maybe we don't have enough footage. I don't know. I just feel like there's something missing there.
Do you think it's editing for the trailer they had us fucked up?
Yes. Yes, because I was definitely expecting something way different. Not necessarily more explosive, but just more of getting in depth about why David has such a big issue with things. And, you know, that would be the only thing. Like, I don't feel like that's really developed as much as I would like to have seen.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I don't like the way that this was edited. It was shitty editing. Like, reality show editing is not the greatest to begin with, but this was really shitty. Like, I'll give you an example. There was a part in the episode where Tamar was she actively did put the dog up. And then, like, not even 2 minutes later, you see the dog running in the background. And granted, this is probably not that big of a deal, but I edit these things. So I know certain things is hard to edit out and certain things ain't hard to edit out. I'm pretty sure that Mona Scott Young's production team could have edited this shit out. Wow. Okay? Like, come the fuck on. Like, give us some continuity.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, because, like, if you're watching a scene and then you see something furry go run past and they off in the background frolicking and shit, it's hard for you to focus on what's in the forefront. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, I didn't like that. I didn't like the editing. I didn't like how they were making it into the situation into a bigger situation and what it needs to be. And a lot of the problems that I had with this episode deal with Goli. So, and David, but mostly Goli, which if you had asked me last week who I would have had major problems with, it still would have been David. But
absolutely.
So it kind of surprised surprised me that, like, when I look at my notes, you know, there's some David shit in here, but there's definitely a big question about Goli. So you want me to transition?
Yeah, like, okay, I'm interested to see, like, what.
Okay. The resounding, and that's probably the wrong word, so don't sue me, but the ever-present question I had throughout the whole fucking episode is that why the fuck is Goli there all the fucking time? Mm-hmm. Like, seriously, like, okay, if dream work is what you do and you're known for it and you got all these famous people in your circles, how come Tamar can't make fucking appointments like everybody fucking else? Why are you hanging out like a fucking intern? I don't understand.
Or like a life coach or something.
Yeah, like, but even life coaches, you make a fucking appointment. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know,
this is true.
I mean, Goli is going out of town with them. She's off in the background, like a part of the entourage. And I'm like, bitch, you only there to interpret or guide through dreams, which that's a whole different topic that I'm pretty sure that we'll both jump into. Mm-hmm. But she's there all the fucking time, and I don't understand. Now, here's something that you probably don't know. So from last episode, we did get some comments from you. So I appreciate anybody and everybody who's commenting and engaging with us on the channel.
Yes, indeed.
So someone said that, well, Tamar physically actually hired Goli. All right. Now, here in the 21st century, in 2020, people say a lot of shit that don't be true, especially on reality TV. Now, I know what Tamar said. I know what they're showing us. Do I believe that Tamar was just like calling Bradley Cooper some damn body like, hey, do you have a dream coach?
Right.
You know, I've heard good things about this Goli. I don't think so. Tamar doesn't strike me as that type of person where she's looking for a dream coach. She strikes me as that type of person where somebody made a suggestion and she agreed went with to it. Mm-hmm. And I'm under the impression, and I could be wrong because it's an impression.
Right.
But I'm under the impression that Goli was really recommended by production.
Exactly.
That's what I'm getting from this. And because she's in like every fucking episode since she's been introduced, that's what I'm rolling with. And then like her, when she gets all bent out of shape and shit because of how this is being filmed and edited and how she's being perceived. And I'm like, oh, this is definitely a production situation because anybody else, any other professional would have fucking left. So, you know what I'm saying? Like that's what I thought.
Change the dynamic a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I thought was weird. Why the fuck is she there? Why is she there all the time? I don't understand. So yeah, like I'm not a Goli fan. I'm not a fan of this whole situation because, and I'm not a fan because she actually proved my point when she had her conversation with David. Because like I wasn't opposed to the dream work, but I wasn't fully invested in it. And it doesn't have anything to do with my spirituality or any Christian leanings or anything like that. It was solely her behavior. At first, I'm like, okay, you know, their first session, okay, you know, that seems very professional, seems very interesting where they're going to go. And then every session after that, for me, it's just like, I think you're a quack. I don't know why you're a quack. Haven't put my finger on it just yet, but I think you're a quack. And then she has the conversation with David, and I'm just like, oh, that's why you're a quack. You know what I'm saying? So that's my take on Goli. What do you think?
Well, okay, first of all, I think we also discussed at some point whether or not she actually was licensed or had some type of certification other than the fact that she has this long list of people that she worked with. I also was a Goli fan until I kind of feel that she's kind of overstepping. I feel that, and I think we're kind of saying the same thing. I feel like this particular service should be provided in an office that can be undisturbed, you know, so that you can actually do the work for an hour or however long it takes for the particular thing. That way you don't have, because it seems like it's supposed to be really intense and very personable. So I feel like this is a part that she should have been going to an office, having her session, and then they do a recap after the session, not it be at your house where you
Right.
have all the, and Goli even said there's so many distractions, like they can't even do it. And I feel also, and I'm not necessarily justifying, but I feel like every time, the reason why we see her so much is because she's supposed to be having these sessions and she can't get through it because there's all these other things that are unscheduled that are still happening while they're trying to have these things. And then the other thing, so when they were talking to David, like I get the whole that, you know, you shouldn't bring the Bible into this because it's not what it's supposed to be about. But at the same time, when you are a professional and in your particular craft, you should be able to sit and clearly explain something to someone in terms that they can understand, especially if you're a professional.
I agree. You should be able to explain what it is that she does. And she had a hard time doing that. And then she got offended about the whole Christianity aspect of it. And so, like, I see what she's saying with it because, like, with psychology, period, it's a science. So it's going to have, it's not going to align with Christianity. No. Most things don't. Most things science-based do not align with Christianity. However, I thought it was kind of, not necessarily strange, but I thought it was odd that she took such, she was so offended by him bringing it up. And I'm like, if you did your research on Tamar, you would know that this was going to be a thing. And it was something that you should have addressed like your first meeting or whatever. But I don't think you did your research on Tamar. I don't really care so much about David, but like at least with Tamar, because if you are a fan or at least you know her history, you know that they were raised very heavily in the church. Yes. So that should have been, when you knew that you were taking her on as a client, that should have been something something should have said to you. You should have been prepared. Yes. You might have to talk about this and explain how this is not challenging her Christianity beliefs. Exactly. And I didn't really care for her using twerking as an example. Now, if you pay attention to Tamar's, not her face, but if you pay attention to Tamar's routine on stage. Oh, okay, yeah. Tamar has a very mature woman stage presence. It's in the middle of, it's like there's like Beyonce on this end and Patti LaBelle on this end, and Tamar is in the middle of that. I say that to say that I don't feel like anything that Tamar did was twerking, okay? I don't feel like Tamar twerks, right? So I was kind of offended by that because she was just like, well, how can you twerk and you're supposed to be a Christian? And then I'm like, yeah, that's not the same thing. Like, you can still believe in God and practice, but certain things don't necessarily have to correlate and make you a hypocrite. Now, if we want to talk about hypocrisy, Tamar, her drinking and being Christian, that's a little hypocrisy. That's the better example, because Tamar act like she like a real good drink. And I'm not mad at her for that. Not at all. Is that something that I would expect from the daughter of a pastor? Absolutely not. See, okay, I grew up in the church. I know preachers' kids, and I completely expect it because we know, as well, anyone that grows up in the church knows that the preachers' kids are the freakiest and they have the biggest attitudes and everything. So it's not too far-fetched. What I was going to actually jump on and say is, okay, I get that David is trying to protect her soul and don't want her to get manipulated, but at the same time, y'all are drinking and fucking. That is completely against, y'all been in a relationship for 18 months and y'all been fucking. So that's completely against the rules and the bylaws. That's what we married. Y'all fornicated. Right. Y'all fornicated. So that goes off, I feel like that kind of, that I could see if they were divulged. I feel I could see if they were like really, like if we saw episodes where they're getting ready to go to church and stuff like that, then I could believe the struggle. But I feel like it was just a battle that almost is kind of like fabricated. Yeah. You know, they needed something to make it juicy. And I feel also like that's the reason why Goli's there, because Goli's the biggest, she's the biggest. Also, Goli, okay. Let me know if you got this, and I want to hear from y'all too. Okay. Do you think
Who's the biggest manipulator in the situation? Is it David or is it Goldie? Because they're both trying to manipulate. I see it. Do you see it? Do you see any manipulation going on in there?
I think I think I said it last episode that everybody's manipulating this whole situation. Mm-hmm. If we're talking about like who's the bigger manipulator, I think it's a tie between David and Mona, in terms of like manipulating Tamar. Oh. She said some things that really stood out for me.
Like what?
When they introduced David, I got the impression that he was a finance guy for real. Like he knows how to grow wealth. You know, he ain't no bum.
Right.
Okay. I'm like, oh, okay, you know, whatever. So, but she said something that made me think, huh. So she said that when she met David, that he was bragging about the fact that he went to Walmart and bought like 25 shoes for $300, and he thought that was just, you know, a really good deal. Mm-hmm. Now, that's just some cheap nigga shit. Like straight up. That's just fucking cheap.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense for him to be bragging about something like that, especially like, okay, yeah, it's a deal, but then you have to think about it's Walmart, so the quality is probably not there. Yes, you paid $300 for 25 pairs of shoes. How long are you going to have those pairs of shoes?
Or is it the reason why you have 23 pairs of shoes is because you bought multiples of about 5 of them because you know that you're going to wear the fuck out of those. Right. So, and then also picking back on the wealth, comment, and this is just my opinion, mm-hmm. my thought process. If I am wealthy, I'm not going to Walmart to spend a whole lot of money on 23 pairs of shoes. I am probably going to go, and I probably even might even type into like a wholesaler or something like that. Mm-hmm. Like I would find a way to kind of get it, maybe even directly from the source, opposed to going there, because to me, you're beyond Walmart at this mm-hmm. point. You know what I'm saying? You mm-hmm. wouldn't brag about that. Mm-hmm. You would be more so you would probably say something more of, I've talked to a wholesaler and I got a deal on 200 pairs of shoes that I'm getting ready to put on the market. Mm-hmm. Now that's the kind of information I was expecting to hear. Not that I went to Walmart and paid $300 for 23 pairs of shoes at Walmart quality.
Yeah, that just kind of rubbed me the wrong fucking way. And then piggybacking off of David, we get to find out where David is from. Mm-hmm. And because I'm so sick of hearing that motherfucker say, I'm African. I'm African. That motherfucker, he's a Nigerian. Now,
mm-hmm. which we kind of had suspicions of him being.
We did. I probably edited it out in the episode that I referenced it because it probably didn't sound like it was going to be a good look. But yeah, I did think that he was Nigerian. And so I have a theory about that. Y'all can drop down in the comments and probably drag me if you want to after this comment. I don't care because I know I ain't shit. But my experience these days with Nigerians is that a lot of times they are not as proud to be Nigerian as they used to, because unfortunately with a lot of people, Nigerian is synonymous with scammer. So I could understand him not wanting to celebrate the fact that he's Nigerian because of that fact, if that is in fact the reason why mm-hmm. he doesn't just say he's Nigerian. But it used to be when you met Africans, at least when I was out here in these streets stopping and bopping, and I used to date Africans, they would proudly tell you where they were from, especially Nigerians. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But then at the same time, you know who also does that vague ethnicity, nationality shit? Anyone from the Middle East. They do that shit too. Like if they're from Pakistan, they don't tell you that they're from Pakistan. They just say that they're from the Middle East. If they're Saudi, they don't tell you. Yeah.
I never really noticed that. Yeah. But it's true now that I think about it.
Yeah. Something else that David did or said, and I was just like, oh, you got plans. So he was just like, well, I don't want anything to affect Tamar, me, Logan, or our unborn child. And I'm like, oh.
Right. I caught that too. And I was like, was he?
Oh.
Is she pregnant? Wait a minute. Hold the fuck on.
I don't think she's pregnant, but I think he got plans. Research.
But yeah, well, he had plans. Mm-hmm.
he had plans. Because as far as I know, they are still not together.
Right. But he really tried to explain.
He didn't explain that right though either.
No,
Neither
but still, like just the details that you got as a professional, as someone that's in the psychology world, you should have been able to actively listen and be able to kind of figure out. And then they also have a way with words.
Yeah.
What psychologists do you know that don't have a way with words?
One that's not really a psychologist. Like she's like, so let's clear that up. She's never said that she's a psychologist or a psychiatrist. She's never said that she has any type of credentials. Okay, so I'm not trying to get sued because I ain't got shit for y'all to sue me for. But she's never said that. But at the same time, she's not putting forth, I keep saying that she's not putting forth that professionalism to be able to explain herself and to be able to effectively communicate with David about what she does and to address his concerns.
Right.
My problem with David is that is it because you really care? Is it because of the things that you've really seen in your country? Or is it you are afraid of what your people are going to say?
I think it's a combination of the two. I feel like it is genuine. He has a genuine fear because he's from Nigeria. And then I also feel like because of what they've been through, I guess, in that particular region, like I feel like it's because they're very prideful. So I feel like in his head is like, my mom cannot find out that my almost wife is practicing witchcraft. My mom's gonna have a fit. And I think that's where that kind of comes from. And then he kind of cornered her in this conversation. I don't know if you caught it, but he was like, so how does this dream thing work? And then he was like, you interpret the dreams.
Right, that part.
And that's why I was like, that's kind of where I was like, okay, I'm back on David's side because you got a point there. If anyone's actually kind of looked at the definition of this dream work and the person that's supposed to be administrating this treatment, you are not supposed to lead in the way that she was leading. And so that's kind of had me hop on David's side because that's why I asked you, do you see the manipulation there? Because you can definitely see that. And you can see and how she interprets some of these dreams, how she's kind of manipulating it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because
so that's what you meant.
Yes, okay. Because even in a point, I don't know if we said this in the last episode, but there is a battle. David's trying to get rid of Goli, and now Goli is trying to get rid of him.
David. Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to this concert that she did with Todrick Hall. First of all, I'm a big fan of Todrick.
How did I know that you was gonna be a big fan? I knew.
I am.
I've heard of him in passing, and when I saw who it was, because I remember before the show aired, I remember reading some things that said that she was doing a show with Todrick Hall. I had to Google him because I didn't know who he was.
Oh.
And so,
when we get done with this, I'm gonna let you see a couple things.
Wasn't he off of Drag Race?
He was on RuPaul Drag Race, yes, but that wasn't the reason why he was famous. He actually does like choreography and things like that. He's also choreographed on RuPaul's Drag Race as well. So he's really big. And then I believe he does like a lot of recordings. Like I know his Oz album, I think it was pretty cool. But nevertheless, like he's very respected, I guess, in some way in the gay community, if you will, as an entertainer. He's great. His outfit that he went on stage in was amazing.
You talking about the cups?
Yes, that cup dress was everything to me. Everything. I said,
I wasn't that excited, but I was just like, you know what, golf clap.
Okay,
because
you have no choice.
I had never seen anything like that before, and I was just like, okay, I'm feeling where you have a drinker. I am feeling where you coming from. Represent. So I will say this, not really knowing too much about him. He looks like he puts on the show, and what I like most about it is that he told you flat out, I don't have no label. I don't have nobody behind me. I'm doing this all by myself. And I think for him to be a one-man show or a one-person show, because I don't know what his pronouns are, I thought I thought they did a damn good job. Put it that way. Straight the fuck up.
And he also kind of inspired Tamar. Did you hear what she said? Yes. He was like, she was like, he has absolutely nothing. He's completely doing it on his own. And look what he produced. She walked out on that stage and she saw that it wasn't a background, but an actual set. Honey, yes.
And this also ties into the fact that again, we're shown that Tamar is a true performer through and through. We never saw her get stressed. We never saw her get bent out of shape. Like she looked at Todrick's setup and said, you know what, I need to step my game up.
Yep.
She didn't like start getting depressed or anything. She was just like, okay, cool. They did the quickest sound check ever in life. Do I really think they did a fucking sound check in 4 minutes? Absolutely not. No. They edited that shit for suspense.
They did.
But she works very well when it comes to performing under pressure. And I like that they're showing that. I thought that, again, they really showed her in a way better light this episode.
It did.
And I don't think that they meant to do that. Because what I got from all 4 episodes so far is, look at this train wreck that is Tamar. This is what we production had to put up with. Tamar fucking crazy. Those are the vibes that I've been getting from the last 4 episodes. But it's like, you can only do so much with the material that you're given. And I think that, like everybody else, you know, Tamar has her ups and downs. She's a little kooky. Everybody is. But to me, this is a true testament of who she is. She get on that damn stage and leave everything else behind. Yeah. So I like that. What I thought was strange, and it was very telling in this particular scene, was it was telling about the control that David has on Tamar. Because she said some things to give you the impression that, yeah, David don't like you. And because David don't like you, I'm getting ready to treat you like you not there. And I thought that was a very controlling thing. I
saw
to
that
see.
Too. And
I
honestly,
didn't like
that made me feel some type of way. Especially if you calling her your friend or whatever. She paid her dust sitting there with David.
She did.
And I thought, and you can see that she even said it, she caught what was going on. And that wasn't right. That really was like shade to like the 10th power, because they literally paid her dust.
Now, here's something that kind of rubbed me the wrong way with Goli in that moment. There was a lot of gushing. You're so beautiful and you're so talented. And I was like, I'm not even Tamar, and I'm fucking uncomfortable.
And that's why I said, who's the biggest manipulator? Because that's something that people do.
Yeah.
When you're trying to manipulate the situation.
Or you're trying to be a part of the in crowd. You're trying to be a part of the entourage.
Yeah.
But see, Tamar don't got money like that. So that's why I'm like.
And then David, because they were talking about the set and the stage, and you know, she was like, "Yeah, that costs money." And from what I was getting, that costs money. And David was like, "What you talking about money for?" You know what I'm saying? And then Tamar was like, "Well, that's my rich boyfriend." I'm like, "The fuck was that all about?"
Yeah, that was like a really
weird, awkward.
Because what I got from that is that I think Tamar was trying to be sarcastic with the whole "that's my rich boyfriend." Because let's keep it 100. David ain't got that old Tamar and Vince money. I don't think so. I don't know how much money David got, but nothing about David says that he had the money that Tamar used to have. Nothing about him says that.
Right? Buying 23 pairs of shoes at Walmart. No, you're not.
Nothing about that. Not the way he carries himself, not the way that he speaks about things. But one thing that I do know is that sometimes when you don't have it like that, or you feeling some kind of way, you don't want to talk about money. Now, I think that because Tamar is a performer and stage presence and props and how your whole act is going to look, you have to talk about money. You have to talk about budgets. So I thought that was kind of weird that he was just like, well, what are you talking about money for, when he knows that she's trying to do this comeback and she's doing shows. You kind of have to talk about that.
You do.
Unless, of course, he's trying to say, hey, why are you talking about that around Goli? Because truth be told, that's not really a conversation you need to be having with Goli about money.
Which actually ties back to what you said in the beginning. Why is Goldie around so much? Now, and I'm starting to agree with you. Goldie, you looking a little suspect, boo. Like, what's going on? You know, yo. Initially, I was like, okay, spiritualism. What, you know, because I'm into that. Okay, we're gonna talk to the ancestors or something, and we're gonna come up with, you know, it's gonna be great. And then, girl, better.
Now, Do we want to talk about the Goli and Tamar conversation?
Yes.
And kind of just wrap this
Yeah.
up? Okay. So, production, you ain't shit for your editing because y'all had us thinking that Tamar was getting ready to go off and drag and just pay dust and just all these different things. And that was like a total 360 of actually what happened. So I didn't like that. But what I did like was that even though Tamar was late to the party in this thinking, she realized what she did in Atlanta and she apologized for it in a way. I like that. I like that she reassured Goli that this is what she wants to do. She understood how that came off, her interactions with David. And it gives you the impression that there was a conversation with David that we weren't privy to. So that was interesting. I didn't like the fact how they made it seem like Goli was sitting there for hours or an hour waiting on Tamar. I don't think that that was Tamar. The way that that was set up, it was almost as if production told Tamar, hey, we got some setting up to do. You know, we'll call you when we're ready. And I think that was done on purpose. And I think it was done to make Tamar look bad on purpose. Because even though Tamar has had people waiting on her throughout these episodes, they've always been at home.
Yeah.
So, and there's always been distractions. So in this last scene, the only distraction there was production setting up stuff. You know what I mean? So I don't like the way that that was edited. I don't think that that was a true edit. You know what I'm saying? Because like, if you're sitting at a table and you see the person that you're supposed to be meeting, why wouldn't you just get your happy ass up and tap them on the shoulder, be like, hey girl, what's going on?
Something.
Right. So that was just weird. But I like the way that Tamar handled this.
I think, yeah.
In terms of her conversation with Goli. And this would have been a perfect opportunity for Goli to be like, hey, girl, not sure if you know, but I got an office space off of, Wilshire.
Exactly.
You know, let's set up some structured time so that we could really get into this work. That was a perfect opportunity for Goli to say that. She missed that opportunity. She was more interested on lightweight bashing David. And I like how Tamar handled that way better than I would have handled that. If somebody had been trying to like lightweight, low-key bash my husband.
Excuse me? You said what?
Like, listen.
Turn the cameras off. You said what, bitch?
Right.
Turn these cameras off. I'm about to whoop this bitch's ass. What'd you say, ho?
Right. Now, I'm not getting ready to sit up here and act like I'm just hood gully, because I'm not.
Right, but still.
But one thing I will tell you is that I will fucking drag you about my family, about my husband.
Period.
You will leave here with no edges and feel like a dementor that took your soul. So that's what I know I can do. But she handled that way better than me. She was just like, but I love David.
I love me some David.
And she handled that. And that was all she had to say.
Yeah.
And I love her for that. She was better than me in that moment.
Yeah, I was the agree that she definitely finessed that. I agree. I really like that she kind of shut her down, but she shut her down in a really good way. I don't necessarily think that she should have been, or what I'm trying to say? I don't feel like she should have took ownership of the situation completely. Like, she's apologizing for David, which I guess that's normal too, I guess. But the way that Goli kind of tried to spin it at the little comments is that David is the reason why she feels that the whole situation is her fault. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, I
didn't take it that way. What I took it as is that something that we Black Americans do all the time when we deal with white people and trying to explain our idiosyncrasies and the things that we do in the Black community. And I think that Tamar picked up on the fact that Goli may not be, grounded in Christianity. And contrary to popular belief, it's a lot of non-blacks that don't get off into the church like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what it was is that she picked up on it and she tried to explain why there's so much pushback and why this is an important thing and why she's being questioned. And I think that's what I got from Tamar, is that not that she was trying to make excuses for David or to basically explain that David probably is not the only person that had a problem with this that's black. That's what I got from that. And I don't think that Goli really, I still don't think Goli really got it. And I think she was just so offended. And then that caused me to wonder, well, why is Christianity offending you? You know what I'm saying? It always clashes with science. So unless, of course, what you do is just not really a science per se.
I'm going to go back to saying the fact you were not properly trained in this field, because I feel like if you were, these conversations, especially if your market includes Black people in any capacity, you are prepared for these conversations.
And this is a hard question, but based off of what we've seen so far, do you see anything right now that could possibly really truly trigger Tamar to have the episode that she had?
That is a really hard question, because the way she's going now, it's kind of more, I'm in work mode, and she has a lot more control, and she's definitely more focused than she did. She started, so I don't know, especially how she dealt with Goldie. You know, so I don't know. Even when how she dealt with David, like that wasn't a screaming match. She really was trying to prevent any further damage. You know, so I think it's going to be very hard, and they're going to have to drum up some weird out of the way, something that we don't see coming, in order for them to really pull off the narrative that I think they're trying to pull off. Because I don't see it coming, because she's been so level that it's ridiculous. She's, you know, and she's in a good space in a sense too, because she's been performing. She's getting, the relationship is not as bad to where she's not getting ready for this nigga's birthday. So I feel like she's trending in the right direction. I do feel like there is going to be something. I just don't know what it is that's going to throw. But I don't know how she's going to handle it, honestly, because she's changed a little bit.
Right. I think that, because I think the narrative that we has been trying to spin is that, and I could be wrong, but it seems like the narrative they've been trying to spin is that Tamar had a breakdown, or Tamar had issues because of this show, because of some things that were shown in this show. I'm wondering if she had a breakdown because we did not give her final approval for the edits, and she didn't know what was going to be in those edits, because this was actually supposed to premiere back in April, but like so many other things, everything got pushed back because of the plague that we're in. But at the same time, we don't know if that's truly the reason why things got pushed back. And we've seen the slip of production. We've seen production slips showing. So now with the fucked up edits, it's making me question the order in which things have been presented to us. It is making me really question that, and it's looking like they went hard in the paint to make her look bad. And so it makes me wonder, you know, what actually was it that she perceived, or what actually caused her really to have this episode? Because for all we know, and again, I could be wrong, please drop down in the comments, let us know how you feel about the episode and how things are unfolding. If you think, I mean, I don't have a problem. If you don't agree with us, you don't agree with us. I don't have a problem with it. I can be very civil. But from the things that I've read, now I'm not professing to say I've read everything, but the things that I've read, they indicate that this was the reason for her episode. But we don't know specifically what exactly transpired with we to make her go this route. And we don't know exactly what truly transpired with David to cause them to break up and have the issues that are going on with them.
Now, let me know if you heard this or not, but I heard one of the reasons is because they wouldn't let her out of her contract. But I
I
don't know
believe
how
that.
true that is. I don't know if that was enough for her to want to commit suicide. But that's something I heard, is that they wouldn't let her out of her contract and she wanted out. I mean, eventually she did, obviously, but
That
yeah.
that could okay. So I've heard that, but it brings up another question for me, and that is that was the contract with we, or was the contract with Mona Scott Young?
Mm-hmm.
Because, and I asked this very specifically because it's common knowledge that Monique Slaughter has been trying to get off of Love and Hip Hop Hollywood for fucking ever. So she's kind of known for holding them damn contracts pretty tight. Mona is. So is it a situation where Tamar kind of got duped into a contract with Mona? Because as I've said before, because this is what I've read, she never wanted to do production with Mona. So is it a matter of her contract with We, or she has a contract with Mona? Mm-hmm. Or is it both? That will be my question. I'm going to go with this was a concession. I think that she probably asked to be out of her contract with We before. I don't think that she probably wanted to do Braxton Family Values, but I hear that they're coming back in November. I don't know if Tamar is going to be a part of that or not, but that's what I heard this week, that they're coming back in November. So it's a matter of, did they truly let you out of the contract, or did they just let you out of the contract for this particular show?
True. We don't know. I don't like know. We said, drop a comment. Let us know what you think.
Yes. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the bell so you can be notified when I upload these. I do try to upload these as soon as I can, get done editing. It's a one-woman show over here, with the exception of my co-host.
Hello.
So if you have any questions, concerns, comments, you can always reach us at streamingwhileblack@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, please do, or on Instagram at Streaming While Black. We also have a Twitter page now. I mean, it looks a little lonely. I mean, because I don't really like Twitter like that, but it's there. So the Twitter handle is a little different. It's at Streaming Wow. Okay. And of course, I can be reached on Instagram only. If you do some sleuthing, you could probably find me on Twitter, but it's a waste of your fucking time because I don't comment, I just scroll.
Okay.
At Chae Maria, so that's CHAE Maria. And Tay, do you want to be found, or you still want to be anonymous?
Anonymous for the moment.
Okay. So he's anonymous. So again, you could drop down in the comments if you're watching this on YouTube. And I do respond. We do respond to the comments as long as they are civil and they make sense. And
also, and I don't know, you might end up editing this out anyway, but if there's any shows that you recommend us check out, let us know. We are open to suggestions because we like to run our mouth.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
So drop it in the comment if you think that there's a show that we might be interested in reviewing. We're open to it.
Yes. Also, we are on iTunes, iTunes Podcast, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you listen to us while you work. Right now in this plague, most of y'all are working from home. Go ahead and listen. Drop us with a 5-star review so you can let people know that you like what we do. And we can continue doing this for you. All right. So anything else?
No, that do it.
Are we done and finished?
We over and done, honey.
Over and done.
Over
All
and
right.
done.
We are done.
Till next time, y'all.
All right.